Hello, and welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked, and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of more than 20 years, self-proclaimed fluffy bunny, lightworker, and busy witch. Here we will talk all things witchy, including my personal magical tips and tricks, busy witch hacks, and real talk about current metaphysical happenings, which wouldn't be complete without my snark and unique way of looking at the world. So brew some coffee or tea, sit back, and let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of Busy, Gritty, Inked, and Witchy. I am Morgan, and I have a very special guest with me today. She is a business, mindset, and marketing coach and founder of the Goddess Lifestyle Plan. She's a friend of mine, and honestly, I don't think there's anything this woman does not do. So please welcome Lisa Marie Grantham.
Thank you so much, Morgan. It's such a pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited for this. Today, we are going to be talking about crystal healing, and neither one of us really prepared stuff. And that's what I think this is going to be awesome about, is you're getting pure information from both of us. And I think that's what's going to make this episode super fun. So when did you, or how did you get into using crystals?
So I don't remember when I started using crystals, but I will tell you this. I've been attracted to sparkly things and things in nature since I was a child. So if I was to be honest, the formal crystal stuff, that came later. But as a child, I remember going to those stores and you could put a little baggie full of crystals. That's where it started. And then I think one Christmas, my parents bought me a rock tumbler. And I tumbled the rocks, and my father looked at the rock. Oh, that's a nice memory, actually. That I haven't thought of that, But and we looked at the rocks, and we always talked about it. So I've always been a nature lover, a nature baby, animals, sparkly things, and things in nature that I found, so shells, all the things like that. So that's where it started for me. And as I grew into around 16, around 16, because that's when I got my learner's permit, right? And I was able to get a little mobile. I started driving to metaphysical stores because back then they were around, those metaphysical spiritual stores. And I tell you, it's my favorite smell. Metaphysical store, you walk in, it's like boom, the incense is going and things are hanging and there's sparkly things and crystals and books, and it smells old, and I just love it. So I think that's when it really started. I was able to buy individual stones and start working. But I think it's been a lifelong thing, honestly.
I think that's the same with me. I can remember going on field trips in like elementary school, middle school, and basically any field trip always had a gift shop, and it didn't matter where the field trip was. And every gift shop had that same display of like, pick your
Rocks.
own tumbled and you could fill a bag, and it would be cheap at the time because this was like 80s and 90s. Yeah. So I think that's probably that, between that and then just going outside as a kid and filling my pockets with rocks, just regular rocks, and driving
True.
my mom nuts with the laundry. So
That's awesome. I remember over the years, even finding like quartzy looking rocks outside in my yard and stuff. Those were always my favorite because they were extra sparkly and they looked like, sort of like calcite, glassy and stuff. And but yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I think it's like a generational thing. Do they still have those displays with the rocks like that and those horrible velvet bags and usually like brown? That's what I remember them. They weren't really very pretty. Now we have all these organza bags. They're so much more pleasing to my eye anyway.
they do actually still have what we have quite a few of our suppliers that have the full displays with you can buy the wooden display from them with the bags, with all of the tumbled stones, like all of it. And so yes, they still exist. They're at gas stations now. Somebody told me that they went into a gas station and they saw one.
Now that you mention it, I think I remember seeing one on like a road trip. I don't notice it local, but I think that I do remember going into like a big, like one of those gas stations with the store attached. And I think it was in there. That sounds right. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
So it's fun to go from just collecting shiny things to then somewhere along the line realizing that these natural things from Mother Earth actually have energy
Yeah.
and can be used for healing, can be used for magical practice. So do you know how long you've been using them more for actual purposes?
For sure. My journey into questioning religion and the world in general, why am I here, started around 16 when I got mobile and started going around to spiritual stores. I was born into a Roman Catholic family. I think over the years my mother became Christian, which is like Roman Catholic light, but there's still, it was not really encouraged for me to be dealing with any of that. And my journey took me first to Wicca, which I think is a lot of people's journey when they are not embracing religion. And they love nature and stuff like that, and the moon, the sun, the stars, and all that stuff. So I kind of took a little bit of a dive into Wicca, but even so, that was too in the box for me. So I could but that's when I started like knowing like, oh, the moon phases, how to work with the moon phases, then the crystal, the layering of the correspondences, and that's when the crystals started to become pertinent, when I was calling in something or releasing something or trying to heal something, empower me with something. That's when that so I would say 16, 18, 21, like right around there, like that little pocket of time.
Yeah, that's about the same for me. I think too, I started with, of course, the metaphysical or magical properties of gemstones, used them for years in spell bags or to put on my altar, to hold, to, meditate with. And for me, believe it or not, it wasn't actually until within the last couple of years that I decided to really understand how crystals can help with healing and understanding, because you hear it, you're like, oh, crystals can be used for healing. But it's not until you dive down into how and into vibrational levels of crystals that it all of a sudden makes sense. You're like, oh, that's why that amethyst calms me down. I get it now. So for as far as crystals and healing, how do you use them?
I definitely, my phone is just ringing. I hope you're not buzzing over there, getting a notification. How I use them for healing is very much, well, more of a chakra system for me, because for how do I want to say this? I use them just intuitively until about 2 years ago when I dove into a crystal healing course, the Hibiscus Moon Certified Crystal Practitioner course. I took that course. And before then, they were more intentional. I didn't really understand how the vibration or the frequency of the crystal can actually help you in tune your body or entrain your body to that vibration. So there was no science behind it. It was more intuitive. This, I like this. I'm going to use this. I like it. This is how this makes me feel. About 2 years ago, I understood the science behind it. And that's when I started working not only intentionally, and intuitively, but intentionally, and knowing like this is going to help me with this because this is the reason why. And that was a game changer for me because as a Virgo, it's like for me, it has to be practical and it has to make logical sense, or my mind doesn't want to discuss it because it's just ridiculous. I felt that way about astrology, truthfully, because when I was 19 years old, I was working in a salon and I picked up Cosmopolitan and I read the horoscopes. And I looked, and then my Virgo mind said, how can every Virgo have the same month? How can every Leo have the same? And I went, this is crap, closed the magazine and never looked at astrology again until about 5 years ago when I was introduced to shamanic astrology. And holy crap, that kicked me in my butt. I was like, there is so much truth with a capital T with this. Same thing with the crystals. Once I understood the science, I was like, okay, now I know why I'm doing what I'm doing and why it works. And I started then really intentionally working with crystals.
Did you
Other
notice
than
a
spell
different?
work, other than spell work, because during the magical phases and years that I've been doing things, we know certain things are for protection and certain things are for wealth building and certain things. So, but for healing purposes, the last couple of years.
And did you notice a difference like pretty quickly after intentionally using them for healing purposes?
Yeah, I would say that once I allowed my mind to really open up to the fact that this is science and it works, because the mind kind of can block even things trying to come in that are true because we're just not open to it. It's not something we can expand into. But yes, I definitely get relief with crystals. I use crystals with oh, for those of you who don't know me, we also have a farm. We breed animals here. I use crystals to calm down a litter of puppies, to help with different ailments for our animals, truthfully. And it's remarkable. The animals are highly sensitive and open to the crystals because they don't have judgment around it. But I will see a marked difference even with our animals.
That is so, I have to say, I've never thought of using crystals with my animals before. I've never thought of that. So that's
They
going to
have a
be a new thing
chakra.
I'm going to try.
They have a chakra system. Did
Hmm.
you know that it's different than the human chakra system? And you can find it online if you Google chakras for dogs, chakras for cats. I believe they're different, but it's different than ours. They're in different points of the body, and you can do different things to help your animals with crystals. Not only yourself, not only your children, but your animals too.
That is awesome. I'm going to definitely have to do that. Thank you for teaching me about that, because we have 2 dogs and 3 cats. So we have, a little zoo of our own. And those who follow me on social media, they know that my cat was born with a broken back. So he was actually born paralyzed, and his foster mother worked with him, like physical therapy, to get him to walk again. So we were told when we adopted him that he probably would have pain. He definitely has nerve issues. Sometimes his poor little leg will just shoot out straight, and his little foot will go like this. And I have to get in there, and they taught me how to massage it and stuff. But if I can start incorporating crystals into that to amp it up, he probably will never leave me alone. He'll be like, "Hey, mom, come do that crystal thing on me."
From what I understand, the animals are highly attuned to the crystals and will lay by them. They know, like just instinctually, intuitively, like this is a good thing, and they like the frequency or the vibration of the crystal. I just want to say that I did learn that in the Hibiscus Moon Crystal course. There's a whole entire module on it, and it was mind blowing. That's what even got me more excited about crystals. So it's been a progression over the last couple of years, where I've been going deeper and deeper, realizing there's so many applications for healing with crystals.
That is so awesome. That is so great. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
What are your personal your go-tos for crystal healing? Even if it's like specific to ailments, like what are the ones you use all the time?
So I always feel good with amethyst. I just always feel good. It's my favorite. Purple's my favorite color. Amethyst is always, so I always feel wonderful and calm and serene with when I'm working with amethyst. I have a raw amethyst I wear on my neck. I use it in different, I have bracelets, crystal bracelets. Like these are for communication and speaking. So, whenever I'm going to be speaking, I will put on these the certain crystals that will help support me speaking my truth, opening my throat chakra and everything like that. One that I've been working with lately for the last about, it feels like endlessly. It's got to be months and months because I really feel like this has been going on a long time. I have sciatica down my right butt and leg, butt cheek leg. And I was told by Hibiscus Moon herself, like try malachite. So I've been working with malachite for my sciatica, and I do get relief. Now it comes back. I haven't healed it completely, but it does alleviate the pain. Of course, using practical tools to support the healing as well. So I ice it, I heat it, I take Motrin, and I work with malachite. I'll sit with it literally on the spot, you know what I mean? On where it's bothering me. Rose quartz is always wonderful. It really, that's something I've been working on my whole life, which is more loving, compassionate energy, self-love. So I work with rose quartz a lot. That always gives me a nice, really kind of like warm and fuzzy sort of feeling, and that's a great thing. It softens the edges a little bit. What about you? What do you like to use?
I have an amethyst. I don't know where I got it, but it is basically like an eye mask that has little tiny tumbled amethyst pieces inside of it. And my husband knows that if I'm laying in bed with that on, I have a headache. Like 100%. That is my go-to. And I will even put it into the fridge too, to like cool it down. And then, put it on and just kind of chill out for a little while. So amethyst is definitely one of my go-tos. I have one of those popular water bottles, the glass water bottles that has the little capsule in the bottom with gemstones. I think mine was just like a well-being blend, and I think it had rose quartz, amethyst, regular quartz in it. I think those might be it. That is what's in the bottom of that. I bought mine before the trend, so mine was stupid expensive.
Me too, by the way. I have the soji bottle. I'm sure that's what I have the soji bottle. It was like $180 or something nonsense.
Yeah, that was my first splurge at the
Yes.
gem show years ago. I was like, I'm going to treat myself. And now you can find them everywhere for like 10
At Home
bucks.
Goods. At Home Goods. My sons bought me one from Home Goods. The price tag said like $12.99. I was like, oh shit. That's a big change. But still, it's still nice to treat ourselves, right? I have one too. I bought a crystal quartz one. You made me think of something. I also use another stone that is, I think, fantastic. I use shungite. I love shungite. And I use a specific noble shungite in my water. It has to be specific. I want to make that perfectly clear. Not all shungite goes in water. Like, you don't want to drink it. You want to make sure it is only the type that's non-toxic. And I believe that's noble shungite. Is that the only one? I know that is the one I have. And I put it in my water and I drink that. And it's supposed to detoxify and do all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, we actually included that years ago in one of our subscription boxes. We gave everyone a little glass jar, and I think noble is also called elite shungite, but like that's it. It's noble shungite. And if you have shungite, like normal shungite is dirty and matte. And like when you touch it, it's dirty, but elite shungite is shiny, or noble shungite is shiny, and it doesn't really leave that. And that's how, but yeah. And we taught everyone in that subscription box how to make the water. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Now, with other crystals, I just thought of another way. Gosh, I use them a lot for healing. I use them in my bath. I take my baths with crystals in the bath as well. So, and you don't have to worry about toxicity with that because you're not ingesting it. I mean, even though your skin is the largest organ of your body, you really do ingest through there. But any sort of quartz I love. Amethyst, rose quartz, clear quartz. That's a wonderful combination for the bathtub. Plus, then you start layering in some essential oils, some petals of flowers. Now you're taking a freaking hot shit bath there. I mean, that's pretty good stuff. It's a magical bath.
yeah. And I love too, I wanted to point out, when you were mentioning how you use gemstones for healing, I think we have to say it's with any magical thing or with any tool like that, you should apply other conventional, like you can't just lay a crystal on you and be like, suck the pain out of me right now. Like, you have to do other things to nurture the energy, because the crystal is going to hit that vibrational energy, but there's still other factors into it. So I do love that you pointed that out, that it's more of like a tool that you can use along with other, even if they're natural healing tools, but you want to use more than one, because I think I've actually heard people say, well, I don't use crystals because they don't work. And I'm like, well, you can't just be like, okay, rose quartz, fix all of my emotional trauma. And you're like, that's
You're
not
100% right. Exactly. It's so true. And I think that it's hard for me because my mind only thinks like 50% woo and 50% strategy. It's like, that's the way my mind works, but that's not how everybody's mind works. So I'm like, well, didn't you realize you had to do other things? Like with my with my sciatica, I know the malachite isn't just going to suck the sciatica away. I have to do the other things too. The malachite supports the healing, just like the other muggle strategies support the healing. So I love to use this holistic type of approach in everything I do. I'm holistic in every area of my life, in every area of my business. It's never just one thing. It's a little bit of the spiritual or the magical and a little bit of the muggle. It's, the practical. We need both. That's when you're really, really, I think, very powerful. It's a very powerful healing when you're using both together in harmony, in unison.
Yeah, I started with hip pain last October, specifically my right hip. And so, of course, I started with yoga. That was the first, like, let me stretch out my hip. Then I realized I got into the emotional because, okay, your hips are attached to your sacral chakra. So what kind of emotions am I keeping pent up inside? So then you go into that. Now I work with carnelian. So now it's like to keep, and I've not had hip pain in about a month now, but it took stretching with the yoga, dealing with some emotional shit, carnelian, and meditation to release and work with the sacral chakra. And that's like, now I don't have to go and start physical therapy. For me personally, I don't have to go do physical therapy. I don't have to go get pain meds from the doctor. Like, this is everything that it's taken for me. And that's what I was comfortable with, just because I'm not a huge fan of doctors. So I'm going to try everything I can first. And that's been the magic ticket, was dealing with the emotional pent up stuff, as well as the physical stretching, as well as working with carnelian and meditating on the sacral chakra and using like essential oils for the sacral chakra, and foods, eating a lot of orange foods and stuff like that to really clear everything out.
Yes. To me, that is the magical equation. A little bit of all the things, all the correspondences, and now you have a direct pathway to holistic healing. Listen, energy, emotions take up space in our body, but they also, when they are not addressed, they solidify into dis-ease of the body. End of story. We've seen it throughout time. I've seen it, I've watched it happen in front of my eyes with other people. You got to clear out those emotional waters. You got to keep your emotional waters clear, clean, and current. That is a full-time job, because every day we're taking in stuff from the outside world, right? So we've got to constantly be on top of just clearing out the emotions, and emotions do get stuck in our chakras, in our different chakras. For women, it's a lot of times the bottom three, but also the throat chakra. So many women have trouble, truly, as I start to choke. That's funny. So many women have trouble with their, like, truly speaking their truth powerfully without reactivity. That's a practice in itself, is be able to say, this is how I feel, without like freaking out about it or screaming about it. This is how I feel. Standing deeply in your power. Crystals can help with that. Essential oils can help with that, all the things. And that's how I approach everything. And it is the magic elixir. Yeah, so good.
I love that. Well, thank you for joining me today. This has been super fun. I even learned, I cannot wait to go home and start with different, first of all, I'll learn the cat chakra system, but I'm going to go home and start with different crystals on my cat and see what happens.
I think you're going to be amazed, truthfully. And I got to tell you, in the course teaches a lot about that. And I love the course. And that module, when I saw it come up, because it's down, you have to learn the science first with hibiscus moon's quartz. She starts with science, and heavy science. And I'm like, but the one thing that does was that it totally made me be like, I could stand in my power now and say, yes, crystals work, and this is why. And then as you go through the modules, this module dropped with animals, and I was just like, yeah, that's so great. So I think you're going to have a lot of fun, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised on really how effective they are with our fur babies.
Sweet. All right, let everyone know where they can find you and what you have coming up.
Oh, so exciting. So you can find me at goddesslifestyleplan.com. I have a new free gift that I recently put together. It's called Create Sacred Spaces with Crystals. And it's about how to create sacred space anywhere, inside, outside, with crystals. And I have a launch coming up of the Hibiscus Moon Certified Crystal Practitioner course. And the links to the freebie, the crystal book, ebook, and the course will be in the caption below wherever you're hearing or watching this.
Yes.
That's my chihuahuas agree. If you heard them, they are sounding the horn. They agree.
Yes. Awesome. Yes, I would definitely be putting the links down so everyone can grab that freebie. And then, yeah, I am really excited that you are launching the crystal course again. I think it's been missing for a little while, and I think a lot of people are very happy that it will be back. So, and I don't think there's a better person in the world to be facilitating again than you. So I absolutely love that you were able to do that for everyone.
Yeah, it's just too important a body of work to just go away. And I said, well, how can I help? And I should say the link to the crystal course, it'll be the wait list. So there's no pressure. There's no pressure on the wait list. If you want to just sign up, it's a perks club. If it sounds like your next right step, wonderful. If not, you're on the wait list. There's no pressure around it, but it is, I think, a very important body of work, not only for learning how to work with crystals for yourself, but so many crystal practitioners are now moving forward and helping their family, friends, community, even making a living as a crystal healer. It's wonderful. So the more magic that goes out in the world, the happier I am.
I love that. Thank you. So yes, I want to thank you again for joining me. And to listeners, I want to thank you all for giving me a platform to share my knowledge and the cool people I know in my life, share them with you all. So thank you to everyone, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.